welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I'm your host, Danika Foley. With me, we have Marie Horomanski. Now, she is the Vice President of Public Relations, and she's also the Secretary for St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. And a lot of people, especially when we're local, people say, Horomanski, where is that? Where is she from? So, of course, I want to ask you first and foremost your background. How did you get here to St. Mary Parish? Because we know there ain't no Horomanskis from St. Mary Parish.
Well, amongst all the last names that I had to learn from being here with the French background, I understand how Horomanski can throw off some people. So I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I got down here to St. Mary Parish through my work. I was in an engineering rotational program for Cameron, a Schlumberger company, and I did a year in Oklahoma City and then a year in Berwick, and I stayed permanent full-time in Berwick. So I'm really excited that I now get to call South Louisiana my home.
Yeah. We're so excited. I'm sorry. I'm just so happy and giddy because you joined Toastmasters, and as many people know that I'm also a member of Toastmasters, yes. But I'm also pretty much an advocate for Toastmasters. I'm always out there telling folks you need to become a part of Toastmasters. It really is a great way to develop yourself personally and professionally, but you do not have to take my word for it. We have the VPPR here, and she's going to tell us more about it. So I want to ask you, why did you join Toastmasters?
Ooh, I agree. Toastmasters is the best thing that you can do for yourself to grow not only professionally, but personally. So I joined Toastmasters because I thought about it in more of the professional aspect of learning and growing in my presentation skills. I've given presentations in the past, and a lot of feedback has been, you're good, but you could be better, and figure out what is holding you back from creating, from presenting that amazing presentation that people will remember forever. For instance, I knew I talked fast, and that's hard if you don't have coaching and to figure out why you talk fast and people to notice that. So I really wanted to join Toastmasters to figure out how can I be a better presenter, but I also wanted to do it because I wanted to know people in the community. Yes. And I just moved here and I saw the sign, the Toastmasters Open House 2019 in CC's Coffee House, and I took it and I was like, I'm going.
Yes.
And I brought a friend and I said, let's do this. It's going to be so exciting. Mm-hmm. And I listened to Maria give a speech and a few other people give a speech. Table Topics was great. It was just a great meeting, and although I didn't join right away, mm-hmm. I sat on it for a little bit. I joined probably 6 months later, yes. And I was able to meet a bunch of people like you in the club and get to know a lot of people in the community, which was great.
And something you said, speaking fast, that definitely is something that I even struggle with. And the fact that I'm from South Louisiana, and look, no shade at all, because people from the South, we have a lazy tongue, even I do, when I'm not in my professional realm, mm-hmm. is that we just talk slower. And so we like to take things a little easy. So, when in Rome, do as the Romans. Yes. But it's also good for yourself to speak slower and to make sure that you are clear, that folks mm-hmm. are understanding you. So in Toastmasters, you said something prior to this interview, is that you receive constructive criticism.
Yes, I have received constructive criticism. When you sign up to do a speech, you also get an evaluator to do your speech, or to listen to your speech and write down how was your eye contact, how was your pace, how was your voice, was it loud and clear, did you sound muffled, did you actually whisper? I mean, volume is very important during a speech, and sometimes you aren't aware of that. So you have an assigned evaluator, and during the evaluation, you write down positive things about the speech, you write down challenges that would be better for next time to think about, and then you write down areas of work that you could work on. So I've received constructive criticism about pacing and also content, making sure that if I say I'm going to speak about 3 points, I better not leave you hanging with just 2. So definitely content in the way you prepare your speech. So those were some of the constructive feedbacks I've got, but however, I never leave an evaluation feeling down on myself. Yeah. It's always a positive reinforcement of what you do correctly or what you do very well, yeah. And then how you can improve. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter if you're already an A+ speaker or you think that you are terrible at speaking. You're only going to grow in this club.
That's right.
Like, there's
you
no
can
negative
only
energy.
get better, and I, for one, have gotten better. And I love it. So I can speak on and on and on and on as we do sometimes around the community, but it's good to have another face here to talk about it. And we have an open house. We're going to kind of give a little bit shout out. We'll talk a little bit about it, but it's coming up on April 8th. So folks who would like to participate, we're on the virtual platform. You can do so. And if you have any more information, you can go right to the email, and that's stmarytoastmasters@gmail.com. So come on right back. We have much more to cover right here on The Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danika Foley. With me, we have Marie Horomanski, who's the VP of PR, as well as the Secretary for St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. And we're talking more about pretty much why Toastmasters is what it is and why it has really helped you. But I want to know where you started to where you are today, because you came to visit in 2019. Took you about 6 months to get the nerve to say, maybe this is for me and I'm going to join. And we're just happy that you've stayed around as long as you have. So what has it done for you?
Well, Toastmasters, besides just public speaking and helping me realize where I can do better in my public speaking and presentations, it has taught me impromptu speaking and also active listening. And impromptu speaking also goes along with networking, because I went to the open house, and there were a bunch of people I didn't know. I didn't know a single soul. And how am I supposed to communicate with people I don't know, right? You have to talk.
That's right. Yes.
So Toastmasters helps you be in those uncomfortable situations, or use the skills that you learn from Toastmasters to be in those uncomfortable situations at networking events. Say that you're looking for a new job and there's a networking event. You're going to have to muster up the courage and speak to strangers.
Yeah.
And that is something that Toastmasters teaches you. And it doesn't teach you, it's not one of the things. We teach you confidence. No, confidence comes with each meeting, and it grows in you, because we have such a motivational environment that when you do a speech or you just do answer a table topic for 1 to 2 minutes, you feel great afterwards. You're like, I accomplished that.
Yeah. And
so it gives you little goals to strive through each meeting. Also, active listening. You have to listen to some long speeches sometimes. Usually our speeches are 5 to 7 minutes that we do in the meetings. However, sometimes as you progress through the paths, you may do 20-minute speeches.
Yeah.
So listening to somebody for 20 minutes it's not easy, but you gain those skills by active listening. Yeah. And it might even help you translate to your family. Maybe
your husband or wife. Oh yeah, definitely.
Or you're on phone calls with extended relatives, and it's easy to get sidetracked and do other stuff around the house. But no, it's like you're on a call with your family. Let's pay attention to them. So
and a lot of the speeches are also informational. They're also interesting. The topics are great. We're going to talk about the open house, because that's coming up. That's April 8th, and it is on the virtual platform, the Zoom. So if you have a moment, grab a pen and paper and write down that Zoom. I know it's pretty long, but we're going to keep it up for a moment. If you have questions, easy enough, you can actually hit us up at stmarytoastmasters@gmail.com. That's pretty easy to learn. Again, April 8th, 5:30. And let's talk about that time. Yes. And how it really is kind of convenient now that we're on the platform. Most folks get off at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So traveling from where you may be might take a little time. But 5:30 on the virtual platform, you can be just about anywhere.
Yes, it is great. If you're at home, if you work from home nowadays during COVID, it's easy. You don't have to travel to a location where we used to meet in person. You can just hop right onto the Zoom call. If you have to drop your kids off for an extracurricular activity, easy. You can join the Zoom call on your phone. I recommend not to do it while driving. Yeah. We want to keep everyone safe on the road. But the virtual Zoom platform has really helped us expand the amount of people we're reaching, because not everyone can travel to Morgan City on a 5:30 on a Thursday. Yeah. Typically, we have these meetings twice a month, and things come up, and other people have other extracurriculars that they do for either them or their family.
What I like, definitely, because it's 5:30, 5:30 is happy hour, right? So wherever you may be, and we were doing this in person too, of course, by moderation. Grab yourself a glass of wine and chill. do not overindulge because you still have to give a speech. It just kind of helps you unwind and just kind of, you're around friends, you're amongst friends. Even if you don't know us, it is, like you said, it's a very supportive environment, and that's what we want folks to get from this, is that it is a very supportive environment. And look, you might say, well, I don't have to give a presentation at all. Baby, it'll help you dating. You say, well, what are you talking about? It gives you that self-confidence, I'm telling you. And then, of course, you network. We're going to take a break, but come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danika Foley. With me, we have Marie Horomanski, who is the Vice President of Public Relations, as well as the Secretary for St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. And we're talking about her experience, in addition to the open house that's coming up on April 8th. It's going to be on the virtual platform of Zoom. Again, that is 5:30. And if you have any questions, give them a call, or rather, send them an email at stmarytoastmasters@gmail.com. We'll keep it up for a moment if you want to take that address down. I know it's pretty lengthy, but that's pretty much how the Zoom platform works. One of the things I definitely want to talk to you about is, because it's virtual, and just about everybody, all the Toastmasters clubs at this point are still on virtual. I think there may be some that are kind of moving back into in-person, but virtual allows you to connect with people all around the world.
Yes, it does. Before, when we had in-person meetings, we would have guest speakers where we had guest speakers at our open houses, and they would come from New Orleans or Baton Rouge, somewhere else in Louisiana, but drivable distance. We recently had a guest from the Philippines during our Zoom meeting, and that you can't do that in person, or you can, but it's going to be expensive.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So that is virtual. It helps you connect with anyone, any other Toastmaster club. Throughout the world. And this is an international club, which is great because you can visit other sites and see how they run their meetings. We all have sites dedicated to our clubs. And you mentioned that where our guest was from, Manila, Philippines, they had some different things that we would like to incorporate on our site that they had on their site.
Yes.
So it also is knowledge sharing.
Yes.
About how
definitely
each of our clubs
Yes,
runs.
and it afforded me the opportunity to go to the Philippines. I was in the Philippines. However, it was by Zoom, which I agree. I think it's a great opportunity. If you're watching this, because this is actually going to be available on YouTube, so if you're watching this from wherever you may be, you can also join us, and we would gladly have you come on in. Again, it's the virtual open house, Thursday, April 8th, 5:30. 5:30 means, hey, that's happy hour, so grab yourself a glass of wine wherever you may be. Make sure that it is in a safe location. Either you're at home somewhere, you're not driving, as she has already mentioned. So I do want to talk about virtual versus in-person. If you don't mind, yes, we're in the virtual realm right now, but can you tell me what it was like in person?
In person, I only attended about 2 meetings before COVID hit, unfortunately. And in person, the energy, you can thrive off of the other people's energy in the room, which you can't do as much during a Zoom call. But in person, as a speaker, you can see everyone's reactions more easily. You don't have to be scanning the computer screen. You can gauge whether or not that you are getting across the point that you want to get across. And also, as the active listener, you can really see how the speaker, as you can tell that as the active listener and evaluator, you can see how comfortable that the speaker is as well. But also the networking. You have time before the meeting and after the meeting to talk with all the other fellow Toastmasters and possible guests and the guest speakers, and that's where you really make the connection. And that is something you can't do as well on virtual.
That's true.
Yes. So
but I'm glad we're able to still do something at least. Like 100%. You said, if we didn't have anything, we wouldn't have anything to do. Right? No,
yes. Yeah. So virtual has given us a lot of opportunities, but we do miss those in-person meetings.
Yeah. So one thing about Toastmasters, we just mentioned, it helps you professionally as well as personally. And you're actually on the side, outside of your profession, you also act.
I do.
Yeah. So has Toastmasters kind of helped you in that? In acting?
Yes, it has. So in acting, sometimes, you have a script and you have the blocking and everything else that you have to do during a show or in live theater, and sometimes things go wrong. Yeah. And during Toastmasters, we have an impromptu session called Table Topics, where the Toastmaster gives you a prompt, and you have to answer with an answer to the prompt. And so that helps you with your quick thinking skills. So it not only helps you in Toastmasters, but you can translate that when someone asks you a question you don't know or something goes wrong during a show.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to talk more about membership fees. Of course, with everything, there's a cost. So come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danika Foley. With me, we have Marie Horomanski, who is the Vice President of Public Relations, as well as the Secretary for St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. And we've been talking about this great club, and I can say it because I'm also a part. I'm also a member, and KWJ, the owners, they all know that I'm a part of this, and it really has helped me grow professionally, in addition to personally. And people ask all the time, well, what can it do for you personally? Well, if you are lacking self-confidence, you can be one way on TV or you could be one way on stage and really be an introvert in real life. And just as Marie has mentioned, it'll really help you connect and network with folks. And look, some of you single people out there, if you're looking, you're like, well, I don't know how to date. Well, look, networking is just like dating, and it'll definitely help you get out of your comfort zone. Toastmasters is definitely a nonprofit educational organization. It helps folks to improve their public speaking, their active listening, everything you've pretty much just mentioned. So for guests who are looking like, well, what exactly, what's going to happen at these meetings? Can you kind of break it down for us?
Yes, I attended my first meeting as a guest, so that it was great. So as a guest, you will notice first that our meetings are very structured. In the beginning, we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we do our Toastmasters Pledge, and then we have an actual Toastmaster for each meeting that is the host of the meeting, and they call upon who is filling certain roles during the meeting, such as Word of the Day and Grammarian, who are the evaluators, who are the speakers for the meeting. And so we kind of go through all that and introduce everybody, and we also introduce guests at that time. So then the Toastmaster, as I said, is the host, so they will call upon the speakers, the evaluators, the time report, and then there's a really fun segment called Table Topics, which is where guests can really be integrated into the meeting.
That's right.
And the Table Topics master has a bunch of prompts that will ask the other members in the meeting, and it could be given to a guest, and so then the guest would have to impromptu speak about whatever the Toastmaster asked for about 1 to 2 minutes. So that's the most interfacing between what a guest would experience in their first meeting, but you would also feel the energy in the room.
Yes.
The energy is so inspiring and motivational that at the end of every meeting, I'm on a cloud.
Speaking of which, there actually is an inspirational thought of the day.
Yes, there is at the end. You're totally right, to wrap everything up. So we always like to uplift and motivate our members and guests and just continue to strive for growth.
Yeah. So look, once you get over Hump Day on April 7th, make sure to come out April 8th. And that is going to be the virtual open house. It's going to be at 5:30, and here's the Zoom link. And it's kind of long and lengthy, but take your pen and paper and get it on down right now. We'll keep it up for a moment. If you have any questions, you can actually send that to stmarytoastmasters@gmail.com. And of course, like I mentioned during the break, as with everything, there is a cost. And I think it's a pretty nominal fee. It's not bad. Again, this is a nonprofit organization, and it's for your benefit. So kind of tell us about the fees.
Yes, the membership fees. So we did just mention about guests. So guests, you never have to pay a fee to sit in on a meeting, and you can come as many times as you'd like before you do purchase a membership. I, for one, went to 2 or 3 meetings before I committed and became a member. So for 6 months, the membership is a 6-month window, and it's $45 to Toastmasters International, and that's because it's nonprofit. So there are dues for the international club, and then there's an additional $6 every 6 months for
Right.
St. Mary's Toastmasters. So if you would like to join for the first 6 months, it is $51 total.
Yes.
And then you can renew the next 6 months. And so you could do $102 for the whole year. Or if you need to take a break, that's always an option.
Yes,
And then
right.
you can come back whenever you're ready. You don't have to have another 6-month hiatus. It could be in 2 months and you want to
Right.
restart it. So that's also the beauty of having the 6-month windows. So it's $45 plus $6, or $45 plus $6 for 6 months, so
Yeah.
51.
And that
it's
definitely is, much less than what you would expect to pay at a lot of other organizations that are out there that sometimes can cost thousands of dollars. And,
Yes.
I'm not here again you're in the hot seat, really. But I think if you would like to check it out, you just come on out to that open house, which is going to be April 8th, and you'll see this wonderful face here, there. Again, she's the Vice President of PR, as well as the Secretary. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.